December 1938, East London, South Africa. A small fishing trawler pulls into the harbor after a routine catch. A young museum curator, Marjorie Courtenay-Latimer, walks down to the docks, like she does most days, just to check if anything interesting turned up in the nets. Most days, nothing does. But today, under a pile of sharks and rays, she spots something strange. A fish, 5 feet long, steel blue scales, and fins that look less like fins and more like little limbs. She has never seen anything like it in her life. She doesn't know what it is. But something tells her not to throw it back. She has it stuffed before it rots in the summer heat. Weeks later, a letter arrives from a scientist she had written to for identification, and the letter changes everything. This fish, he says, belongs to a group that went extinct 66 million years ago, the same time as the dinosaurs. She hadn't found a fish, she had found a ghost.
Coelacanths predate dinosaurs, but they resurfaced from extinction in 1938.
But if a creature can hide from science for 66 million years, swimming quietly while we assumed it was gone, then what else might still be out there right now? Something we've already written off in textbooks, filed under extinct, when it's actually alive, right now, somewhere in the dark of the ocean. Today, let's look at 5 prehistoric sea creatures the world declared extinct, and then found alive, swimming as if nothing had happened. To understand why this keeps happening, we need to understand how extinction actually gets declared. It's not magic. Scientists don't have a way to check every corner of every ocean. Extinction is a conclusion based on absence. If a species stops showing up in fossils and nobody spots it for long enough, science eventually accepts it's gone. But the ocean covers over 70% of our planet, and we have mapped less of its floor than we have of the surface of Mars. So an absence of evidence, especially in the deep sea, is not always evidence of absence. That fish Marjorie found, later named the coelacanth, proved this in the most dramatic way possible. It wasn't a subspecies or a distant cousin. It was a living, breathing member of a lineage that predates the dinosaurs. One that scientists were completely certain had ended in the same extinction event that wiped out most life on Earth. Now here's where it gets even stranger, because the coelacanth wasn't a one-time miracle. It's part of a pattern. In 1952, a Danish research ship called the Galathea was dredging the floor of the Pacific Ocean, 3.5 kilometers down, off the coast of Mexico. Their nets pulled up all kinds of debris from the deep sediment, rocks, broken shells. Among the junk were 10 small, unassuming snail-like shells. Nobody on board thought twice about them. They were tossed into storage with hundreds of other specimens, waiting to be cataloged someday. For months, these shells sat there, ignored, almost lost in the pile. It was only later, when a scientist finally examined them closely, that the shock hit. These weren't ordinary snails. They belonged to a group called Monoplacophora, a class of mollusks that science believed had gone extinct 375 million years ago, long before the first dinosaur ever walked the Earth. For a moment, this discovery almost slipped through the cracks entirely, buried under paperwork and unopened crates. If that scientist hadn't gone back through the storage, we might still believe this creature died out before life even reached land. Then came 1987, off the coast of British Columbia in Canada. Marine researchers were using a submersible to survey the seafloor, mostly looking at fish populations for fisheries data, nothing glamorous. But as their lights swept across the deep water, they saw something that made no sense. Massive reef structures, kilometers long, built from delicate glass like skeletons, rising off the ocean floor like frozen coral.
The enemy somehow
Let's grab the
finds
base
the sponge,
so we have it.
or
Take off soon, I think.
when these things reproduce.
These were glass sponge reefs made by an ancient group of sponges called Hexactinellida. Fossils of these reefs existed, dating back to the Jurassic period, but scientists were sure they had vanished nearly 100 million years ago. wiped out alongside the dinosaurs. Yet here they were, alive, thriving, forming entire underwater cities that had apparently existed the entire time, completely unnoticed, hidden simply because almost nobody had looked in the right place at the right depth. You'd think after the coelacanth, after the mollusk, after the glass sponges, the scientific world would stop being surprised. But in 1975, it happened again. A French zoologist named Jacques Forest was walking through a fish market in the Philippines, the kind of place fishermen sell their daily catch for food, not for science. Buried among the ordinary shrimp and crabs, he noticed something that stopped him cold. A small, strange-looking crustacean with primitive features he recognized instantly from fossil records. It matched a creature known only from Jurassic-era fossils, nicknamed later the Jurassic Shrimp, Neoglyphia inopinata. This animal had been swimming in Southeast Asian waters this entire time, occasionally getting caught in local fishing nets, occasionally ending up on someone's dinner plate, completely unknown to science. Until one scientist happened to glance at the right market stall on the right day. And that brings us to the fifth creature, one that didn't require a submersible or a deep-sea trawler at all. Off the coast of Australia, in the early 1800s, naturalists began finding strange fossilized shells along the coastline. Shells belonging to a group called trigonid clams. These clams once dominated the ocean floors of the Mesozoic era, the age of dinosaurs, found in fossil beds across the world. Scientists were confident they had disappeared after the mass extinction that ended the Cretaceous period, 66 million years ago, the very same event that took the dinosaurs. But then, fishermen started pulling up live clams that matched those fossils almost perfectly. It took years for scientists to accept what local fishermen already knew, that this so-called extinct creature, now named Neotrigonia, was alive the entire time, quietly living in Australian waters, while the rest of the world assumed it was gone for over 60 million years. Notice something about all 5 of these stories. In each case, the creature wasn't hiding in some impossible, unreachable location. The coelacanth was caught by a regular fishing trawler. The mollusk sat ignored in a box on a research ship. The Jurassic Shrimp was sitting in a public market. These weren't creatures that outsmarted science. They were creatures that science simply wasn't looking closely enough at because we had already decided, with total confidence, that they didn't exist anymore. That's the real twist in every one of these stories. It's not that the ocean is impossibly vast, though it is. It's that human certainty moves faster than human knowledge. We label something extinct not because we've searched everywhere, but because we've stopped expecting to find it. And that should make you pause, friends. Right now in museums and universities around the world, there are extinction lists, species marked with a small, quiet label that says gone forever. Some of those labels are certainly correct, but history has shown us again and again that certainty is not the same as truth. The coelacanth waited 66 million years for someone to simply check the right boat. The mollusk waited in a box that almost never got reopened. How many other so-called extinct species are out there right now? Not gone, just unseen, swimming quietly in the deep water we haven't gotten around to exploring yet. Maybe that's the real lesson hiding inside these 5 stories. Extinction, once treated as an unquestionable end, might sometimes just be a gap in our attention. The ocean hasn't finished surprising us. It probably never will. Which of these 5 surprised you the most? Tell me in the comments. And if stories about nature defying everything we thought we knew fascinate you, go watch my video on the world's greatest survival story. The story of Shackleton and the Endurance, a tale of humans refusing to accept defeat, the same way these ancient creatures refused to accept extinction. Thank you very much.